Hello, Xbox Nation. Good afternoon and welcome to today's incredible Xbox Factor podcast. We have actually a stacked panel. Normally, it's just the four of us. It's Pong Soul, it's Zemi Games, and of course, 3-Bit, who has just recently joined the fray. But we originally were going to, or at least I was originally going to, put a panel together to stream the Nintendo event, which just went live. And of course, I had a good friend of the industry reach out to me and said, "Hey, Boom, FYI, if you stream it, you're going to get a copyright claim from Nintendo." And it turns out that that tipster, a good friend of mine, was in fact right, because Nintendo put out a statement today telling all fans to please not stream their event, otherwise you would get copyright claimed. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing. It is the most preposterous thing I've ever heard of. Exactly opposite of what Xbox did. Obviously, everyone that did stream it, I think, could pretty much say that they did in fact get a claim. But I believe Microsoft is behind the scenes is working on that to get those claims removed, so we can, of course, make money on the videos that we did for the live stream. It's a real funny business, and when it comes to YouTube, and there are bots that are there to do this, to protect obviously people's music and stuff. But it's a little frustrating when you're trying to do these events, and all you have is the best interest of yourself as well as the community and the product that you are streaming about. But listen, this is going to be a big show. We're going to open up with some Todd Howard news. That's right. The God Howard.
Praise his name. Praise his name.
That wears the best. He probably wears the leather jacket the best. I would even say he challenges the Fonz. He was interviewed by the Telegraph. It's a publication in the UK. And folks, for some reason, for some rhyme, for some reason, for some instability, whether it's mentally or just emotionally, there are people still writing stories that Starfield is in fact coming to the PlayStation 5, and it is almost preposterous. In fact, I would dare say it's embarrassing. But I have a statement from God Howard that basically sums that up, and I guess I can say that this is the nail, or the final nail in the coffin of PlayStation 5 ever getting anything Bethesda ever again. And we'll get to that. And of course, we're going to be talking about the event. We're going to be talking about what the first party, what it means now for Xbox and its millions of fans, and even people looking from the outside in. What exactly does first party mean? How it was basically all questions and doubts of what Microsoft can do regarding first party was answered, at least in my opinion, and that we're definitely going to get to that. But let's get into the introductions, and we'll start with our two guests first. Kirby Louise, first of all, brother, welcome back to the program. You've been a part of this several times. I'm happy to have you here. I know you're excited to talk about Xbox. How have you been?
I've been good. Just kind of watching the Nintendo Direct in the background when I'm not talking, and been working on my game engines programming stuff over the last couple of weeks. Got some new games for my PC. It's been a good time, I think.
Nice. Well, glad to have you here, brother. Cannot wait to hear what you have to say about Microsoft's conference, which I think obviously is the clear winner of E3. I mean, obviously Nintendo, outside of announcing the Switch Pro, which I don't think they're going to do, the only one that's missing is Sony, and at this point we don't even know what Sony is going to do. So a clear winner, Microsoft, but we'll get into that. Fuzzy Belvedere, it's been a while, brother. You've obviously been a part of this community for quite some time. It's really great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate being here. Man, it's that this past E3 was just everything that I kind of hoped for, plus or minus one or two things, but a fantastic show, and I'm so glad to be here to chit chat about it, and hopefully, put some of these old memes like Xbox has no games to rest.
Yeah, no, I think that question was answered, and it really is. We've joked about this on this show many times. With when you talk about Game Pass and the ability to have hundreds of games available to you the meme that we've always went with is Xbox has too many games, and I think that is going to be something that we're going to be talking about for quite some time, because if you look at what's coming, I mean, just look at the event at from face value, 27 of the 30 games shown were all Xbox Game Pass. I mean, that's just madness, and those games are coming this year. A lot of them, which is pretty awesome, and even some in 2022. But let's get to the roundtable of panel members that are normally here. We're going to start with Zemi Games. Now, Zemi Games, if you didn't know, he had made a bet. Now, I don't know, this bet wasn't with me, but he made a bet with someone that if Forza Horizon 5 was announced for 2021, he would have to shave his beard, and he's a man of his word, and he did. That nice clean face now goes with that bald clean head. Zemi, how are you feeling after the shave?
Not good. And well, and slight correction. The bet was actually with you. The bet was with everyone that was on the panel at the time. I don't remember everyone, but of course you would have to be there because it happened on your show. But I mean, we're talking, and it was like a year and a half ago.
Maybe that's why I don't remember. I'm old, so
yeah, we were speculating on what we thought was going to be the next Forza game. And I chose wrong, and now I don't have a beard.
Well, at least you're a man of your word. I mean, we have to give you credit where credit is due. You shaved your beard; it's going to grow back. Listen, you're going to be, you definitely showed your manship, if you will, by shaving it. But you know what? Listen, it's great to have you here.
It may grow back, Boom, but I'm never going to get those hairs back.
Okay, well, those hairs are gone for life. So yeah, you are onto something. Yeah. I got to thank two new people. We have, first of all, my brother rejoined. Neo Mental has become a channel member, and of course, I believe it's Pro F Triple J has become a channel member. Thank you for that, dude. Super appreciate it. Let's go to Pong Soul. Now, Pong, listen, you and I, we always seem to say the same thing. It felt like we haven't podcasted in a month. And I think that is the brotherly love that we have for one another. How the hell are you? And did you enjoy Microsoft's E3? Don't go into details. We're going to get your opinion on it. But did you have fun?
Oh my God, how could you not have fun, Boom? Speculation Town came through in so many different ways. Everything we've been talking about all these months led up to that moment on Sunday, and we saw so much goodness out of Xbox. I could not be happier, Boom, just like you. It has felt like it's been forever, even though my whole life has been podcasting for the past 6 days. But here we are, Boom. We're back together. Xbox Factor Podcast. This is beautiful. We've got my brother from another 3-bit here. We've got my brother from another Fuzzy from the Shop Podcast here. And of course, I finally get the podcast with Kirby Louise. This is going to be a fantastic show. And quick shout out to Twitch Gaming for finally standing up to Nintendo.
Talk about that for a second.
That's right.
To the people. Explain to the people what happened.
Absolutely. They put out a tweet just a little bit ago that they said this is not normal for Nintendo to come out and do this garbage and say that nobody else can stream their presser. So Twitch Gaming finally stood up and said, since nobody else can co-stream, Twitch Gaming is not going to be streaming the Nintendo show. So that is good on them for finally somebody big standing up and saying, enough is enough, Nintendo. This is 2021. All these people are trying to give you free marketing, free advertising by spreading the word to all their followers, to everybody that's going to watch and just want to celebrate what you're doing. You're not going to allow that. So guess what? We're not going to participate in this either. So good on them. I got to give them props.
Dude, I think that, you know what, this is something we're going to be talking about on Friday's Breakfast with Boom. I think it has to be discussed simply because this is one of the biggest moves, I think, in streaming that we have seen in years. And to tell Nintendo to suck it, is all I want to do is hug somebody from Twitch, because I think it's about time. I think you're onto something. It is about time someone told Nintendo that their way is not the right way.
Correct.
And it's an ancient way, and I don't understand how they still do this. Like, it is 2021. Obviously, there is no real E3. How are you supposed to celebrate your favorite brand if you're not going to be there in person? Well, you would do it digitally, and they've even taken that away from the streamers, which is preposterous on every level.
Absolutely, 100%. Boom.
So, like I said, we're going to get into that, and I believe King David will, in fact, be joining with us to get the King back. But last night, listen, if you missed Prime Time with Gaming, dude, I'm going to tell everyone. Listen, I know I'm the producer, I'm the host. I get it. It's probably my favorite show, at least with Prime Time of 2021. We had one of the biggest, most monster panels we've ever put together. We had Lord Cognito join us. We had Dealer Gaming join us. We also had making his grandest return, Gaming Forte, as well as the panel. And what was crazy and what was humbling beyond absolute words is, besides having Chris Grinnell in the chat, which of course he was on there a couple of weeks ago, ex-Sony developer, Paris Lilly hung out for almost half of the show in the chat. I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, Paris Lilly, that guy. That's Gamertag Radio, kind of funny. Paris Lilly, that guy. Yeah, he was there. And Paris, I don't know if you're here now. Probably not. But if you are, I am still waiting, checking my email daily for that call up to the big leagues. And on the Xbox Kind of Funny show, I would absolutely freak out if that ever happened. Maybe he was, checking out the Boomster to see if that could in fact happen. But we'll only know very soon. But you know what? Let's welcome in 3-Bit. 3-Bit, you have become a regular panel member on this version of the Xbox Factor podcast because you were doing something on Thursdays. Welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
Feeling great, dude. It's been such a busy weekend. It was really amazing that the team for Ubisoft, Akira, and the rest of the team that I was able to see my little title cards pop up with with Extraction and some other games. That was really cool. And Xbox has killed it this year. And being able to podcast with everybody and see the reactions with the Xbox show, it was amazing. Just getting to be with the community in that moment was priceless and something I missed last year for sure. So it's been a great week. Glad to be on the show with Pong and Zemi. I think this is technically my first Tuesday show, maybe.
Yes.
So it's my introduction show. So it's going to be a good one, and excited to see some of these topics.
Well, listen, like I said in the opening, I want to get to the interview with Todd Howard. And again, this was an interview with a very credible publication called The Telegraph. And I'm going to read verbatim of what Todd Howard had to say. And this, of course, this is referring directly to Starfield's exclusivity on Xbox. And he was asked whether or not it was he was asked to pick a side, which I thought was a little blunt in my opinion. He says pick a side, meaning PlayStation with a question mark. Is that what you mean? Well, a little bit. You don't ever want to leave people out, right? But at the end of the day, your ability to focus and say, this is the game I want to make, these are the platforms I want to make them on, and being able to really lean in on those is going to make for a better product. By focusing on the platforms, you really get to lean in on a lot of making it the best it can be for those systems. And we're big believers in all of the avenues that Xbox and Microsoft are doing to get games to more people, whether that's in the integration with the PC, which is huge for us, the cloud streaming, and all of those other things. So I think it's about taking the long-term view and our benefit that those things are really fundamentally good. So we see it actually opening up more and more and more, so that people's ability to play the games or to play our games via Game Pass and other things, their ability to play games doesn't go down, it goes dramatically up. All I can say is I'm proud to be a part of Xbox, and I think it's great for the community of gamers that they have. End quote. Okay, Pong, I want to go to you first on this because obviously you're a big proponent of God Howard. Listen, I think that the fact that we're still talking about this is this will be the last time. but I wanted to kind of put the final nail in the coffin to what exactly was said, because I thought it was clear that after Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and other people from Xbox said, including the advertisement Xbox exclusive, that it would be understood that it was exclusive. But there are people still running stories that it's not. I don't know what else to say about it. What are your thoughts on his, I guess, declaration that, yeah, PlayStation folks, sorry, you're gonna have to buy an Xbox or get Game Pass?
It's ridiculous that we're still here talking about this, Boom. Ah, my God. Yeah, if you couldn't tell from the show, if you couldn't tell from every screen popping up saying exclusive in giant letters, I can't help you. And, you know, even with Todd coming out and saying this, you know, I don't even know if people are going to stop this stupid narrative, but it was good to hear from the man himself once again coming out and clarifying and restating everything that has already been said and putting to rest once and for all that this is exclusive to Xbox, to the Game Pass, wherever Game Pass is, as Phil said when they announced the acquisition. You know, that is the important key here. Again, nobody goes and spends $7.5 billion on a publisher in ZeniMax to share all of those goods with the rest of the competition. This is still business at the end of the day. As much as Phil has been known to be a kumbaya kind of guy, he has also put that narrative to rest. He understands that in business, you can't always hold hands and say, hey, everybody, we're friends here. Sony certainly does not hold hands with anybody with the deals that they do. That is business. And this is what this is about. And yes, Todd Howard came out, and I think maybe, again, I don't think so, because some people just like to continue these ridiculous things. But I think finally, maybe hammered home the final nail in the coffin of this narrative and said, enough is enough. We are focused on making awesome, incredible, mind-bending games for Xbox, and which is now our home, and that's it. Nobody else is getting a share in this pie. Come on over, join in. We've got a million different ways. He said it right there in that quote as well, talking about, you know, yeah, I don't, you know, he even states, you know, yeah, I want as many people to play as possible, and I don't like limiting that, but we believe that Xbox is providing so many different avenues for people to play our games that in the end run, this is a good thing, and we are happy to be a part of this family and be here in this home and sharing it with as many people as possible here. So come on over, join us. You know, that's what this is all about. So yeah, I think that this is it. And it was good for him to come out in this interview and finally put that all to rest.
Yeah, no, real quick, Zemi Games, let's get your opinion on this, brother. You are obviously a big fan of what Todd Howard brings to the table. Was this the nail in the final coffin for you? And the question that I have is, why do people continue to provide false hope to people that do not want to get involved with Xbox?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, where was this done? Like, where was this interview done? And did that journalist actually say pick a side?
No, he asked it. Well, I mean, I don't have the entire. I had only the quotes from Todd Howard.
Okay.
He basically said, you know, like, which side would you pick? You know, and you know, obviously, he said, I think it went something to the effect that if you were still not owned by Microsoft, which side would you pick? And he said, well, what do you mean pick a side? Like pick PlayStation? Which
Okay,
I think,
yeah.
which is ridiculous. But
yeah, I mean, that's a little unprofessional, to be honest. But you know, I love Todd. Todd's amazing. I don't think that we needed Todd's input on this to figure out that, you know, Starfield is definitely an exclusive. And if you're you know, looking closely at what Phil has said in the past and what Xbox, you know, just generally has shown us here after acquiring Bethesda, it definitely seems that, you know, all of the Bethesda games besides what's already under contract or, you know, potentially multiplayer is going to be you know, multiplayer such as, you know, Elder Scrolls or what's currently already, you know, existing on other platforms is going to be exclusive, right? I was a huge proponent for them not going the exclusivity route. But, I had that idea for very, very different reasons. And those reasons were not to support any form of, console war or tribalism or anything like that. But, I'm at the point where, if, Phil says they're going to be exclusive, they're going to be exclusive, right? I don't think that this, conversation or Todd's, response during this interview is going to quell everyone. I think that we're still going to see this type of conversation on, social platforms like Twitter. I think there's still going to be people that are very, very upset, and, rightfully so. A lot of us Xbox fans, we cheered whenever we heard that ZeniMax was being acquired by Xbox. And it's because we knew that they made really, really good games, and a heck of a lot of them. And the PlayStation guys, they know that too, and so they're definitely going to be upset, right? This is going to be something that's probably going to take a few more years for them to 100% get over, and I'm sure probably some people aren't going to get over it. But overall, they are exclusives, right? And any way around that as of right now, just kind of is just a bozo move, in my opinion.
I agree. Let's get Kirby Louise. Kirby, was this I guess the last straw for anyone that was thinking that Microsoft spent that kind of money to allow these games to be on other platforms that did not support Xbox Game Pass because they're poor, they need the money?
No, I have been of the opinion that since the Bethesda Roundtable and Phil Spencer made it crystal clear that the games would be, Bethesda games would be exclusive to platforms with Game Pass, that was the so-called final nail in the coffin. And, that's, I didn't exactly follow, I guess, or pay attention to where this came from. So all I can say is it was made clear then. I don't know why we still have to go through this.
Yeah, no, again, this will be the last time we speak about it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm in agreement with you. The roundtable for me cleared up a lot of the confusion, a lot of the the different wording on how things were, and I was clear to it. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your opinion on this, and we'll start the actual show, and we'll move on from this permanently. Are you happy that this was, I guess, the last time that anyone could say anything? I mean, obviously, Todd Howard works for Microsoft. Obviously, they're acquired, and I think people were still hoping that this would be a thing, even though and what's great. I think the reason why we're talking about this is because I saw personally 3 articles written about this, specifically saying that no, PlayStation people, there's still a chance.
What, you mean they won't have access to it a year later? No, I'm just kidding. I thought it was funny. As far as all of those that's on Twitter and other social media platforms talking about, bank on it. A year later or at some point, they'll be on PlayStation 5. I don't know. I look at it this way. Xbox wants you into the Game Pass ecosystem. So
yes.
Why would they put the stuff elsewhere? That de-incentivizes you to sign up. So
yes,
it was kind of like a given, and Phil Spencer kind of put I thought a clear message out there, or a clear signal that that's what this purchase was about, and that should have ended anything. But I know some people were hanging on his words of what was it, that the legacy stuff that they'll still support, which kind of means the games that are out there, they'll still put patches.
Yeah, they're going to support Fallout 76. They're going to Elder Scrolls Online. These games, when they have new expansions, are going to be supported on other platforms because those platforms are in quote unquote legacy. But anything new is, like I said, I've said in many shows, in the words of the great and late Richard Pryor, tough titty if you don't have Game Pass.
Exactly. I don't know. I think too many of those on the non-Xbox side look at things like Tomb Raider when they were like, oh, you have an exclusive? Is it timed? When does it come into PlayStation? That's not fair. That's anti-consumer. And it's like, but yet they don't say boo about, when Insomniac is acquired by Sony. Yes, I understand they've had a working relationship for decades, but hey, I guess we're not going to get a Sunset Overdrive 2 on an Xbox, but I don't see them, chanting, "Oh, well, a year later you'll have access to it," right?
Right.
Just
Yeah.
it's a done deal. I'm glad Todd Howard put another nail on the coffin, but I think at this point we might as well just burn that coffin, just cremate the remains and be done with it.
Yep. No, I absolutely agree. And 3-bit, why don't you close out this particular shenanigans topic? Again, not really meant for the show, but I figured we would spend a few minutes just talking about it. Are you happy that Todd Howard came out and basically closed the door on any and PlayStation 5 ever getting anything Bethesda, or at least Starfield?
I thought it was crazy that like people are still questioning the fact after they put the text of Xbox exclusive on the official poster. Like, was that enough? Was that not enough? And you also had Sarah Bond come out. It's like, hey, and yes, this is an exclusive, right? In addition to that, talk with Phil that these games, wherever Game Pass lies, is where these Bethesda games will go, unless there is a pre-existing contract. And yeah, it's just at this point, it's just sort of grasping for the straws. These like people obviously want these games, and that's it's if you want to play these Bethesda games, at least with Xbox, you have different options, right? To play it. You have PC, you have Xbox, you have xCloud, and then you also have the streaming stick that's coming. So it's not like, at least with the ecosystem, you have different options if you didn't want to buy an Xbox per se. But yeah, it's really crazy to me that people are still saying this. Even I don't know how many times they have to say this game is going to be exclusive. I hope this is the last time. And they just start, I don't know, just I don't know what else they could do, honestly. They keep saying it's exclusive over and over. And we are in the position where we're having articles where they're saying like, oh, it may still come to the PS5. So I don't know what they could do at this point, but at least within the ecosystem is how I like to look at it. You have different options in playing these Bethesda titles.
Yes, and I think that's the key. I think that is exactly what Todd Howard was referring to. The way that Sony does it is they say it's for, well, they lie a lot. They say it's for the PlayStation 5, and they use terror tactics to make you buy one if you can find one. And then they, a month later, release it on the PlayStation 4. I feel that, a perfect example, Godfall. If you remember that whole shenanigans, it could only be on the PlayStation 5 because of the incredible and powerful SSD. And guess what was just announced for the PlayStation 4? Well, Godfall is coming. And it's not going to matter because that game sucks. I have it. I bought it used, and I want to punish myself spending the money because it's another, Gearbox didn't make it. They published it, but it's an awful title. It's just awful. It is not even worthy to be called a Destiny clone. It's just, it sucks. And so don't buy it. But you know what? I want to move on to the thumbnail commentary for today's show. And I think this is going to be a topic that we're going to be stuck on for a bit because I think it holds a tremendous amount of relevance for this community that follows me, the community of Xbox that supports, in my opinion, the best box in the business. And basically, the title of said thumbnail was Microsoft Silences the Gaming Industry on First Party. And I think that they didn't just silence them. I think they sewed their lips shut. And you know what? It's very easy when you do these shows to talk about what was there, right? But I kind of want to start this round robin conversation of what wasn't there and why it's relevant and why it's important. Microsoft showed us a glimpse or a peek behind the curtain of first-party games that we kind of knew about but weren't officially announced. But I want to go. I just want to read the list of what is coming and what wasn't at E3 2021 for Microsoft. And it's going to prove my point that Microsoft is hitting on every cylinder, and that the onslaught of first-party games that will be coming is not going to be believed. Folks, this is what wasn't at E3 for them. Hellblade 2, Indiana Jones, Fable, Forza Motorsport, Avowed, Compulsion's Game, Gears 6, Everwild, State of Decay. Folks, every one of these games here have the potential to be AAA bangers, bombs, whatever you want to call them. And they weren't there, but they're being worked on as we speak. Now, I know I might have missed one or two, so if I did, throw it in the chat and say, hey, boom, you missed one, you missed three, whatever. But I want to go to Zemi Games first on this. Zemi, you've been doing the Xbox Factor with me for quite some time. And, again, we've had conversations where, we've questioned what Microsoft, in fact, was doing for first party. Was the question of first party answered for you at this year's E3?
It depends on the question, right? If the question is, how does Xbox have games? Yeah, of course that was answered. And that was answered way before this show, but it was just reinforced during this show at all the games that they have, right? I mean, it's incredible. Like, I don't think that there is a single, independent company that is currently able to produce the same quantity of content as what Xbox is able to with their number of studios, right? And I could be mistaken, but I don't think that there's anyone else out there, company that's able to do that, right? Even big publishers like EA, I think, would have a hard time maybe releasing the amount of content that we are kind of expecting to see from Xbox here in the coming years, right? So, of course, Xbox has games, right? But there still is a question, and this question has not been answered yet, but I think it surely will, and I think that we're all going to get a very, very good answer off of it. Are Xbox first parties good, right? We know that they have the ability to make the quantity, but we don't know that, 100% every single one of these games, or even the majority of them, are going to be really, really good and capture gamers' attentions for years to come, right? We don't know that. I feel very positive about it. I think that we will know that, hopefully very, very soon, by the end of this year, and we'll have the, definitive answer of yes, Xbox can make amazing fun games and they can, pop them out very consistently. Right. But as of right now, we don't have that answer. But as far as, does Xbox have games? We absolutely have that answer. That question should no longer ever be used. I'm sure it still will be, right. Or even just the statement, hey, Xbox has no games. I'm sure people will still say that the same way that they're still going to hope for, Starfield and Elder Scrolls and all these other, Bethesda titles to come to PlayStation, right? Like there's always going to be people out there that are hoping for it. But I think overall they definitely, if you saw that and you weren't impressed, there's nothing that's going to impress you, right? So right. Just the sheer number of what Xbox is able to accomplish with all their mini studios. It really does seem that we're looking at here in, the relatively near future, we're definitely going to get multiple releases from their first party every quarter. It definitely looks that way. Yeah. So I don't see how you can't be impressed with that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think you're onto something. I will say this: if anyone walked away from Forza Horizon 5's display with their jaws on the ground, like literally flopping on the ground, well, you can just expect more flopping, because that is the tech that is going to be used for Fable. And if you looked at some of the way that I mean, I thought it was produced so well, where they even showed like the cactus and the pincers on the cactus. That is what you're going to be seeing coming to Fable, folks. This is, obviously it's not the same team. It's the Forza team is different than the Fable team, but my God, a lot to look forward to. But you know what, Pong, I want to bring you in on this conversation, but before I do, I got to catch up on some of these outstanding super chats, and there's been quite a few of them. Outbreak Podcast starts them off for the day. First one of the day with a $2 super chat, and says, boom, who had to shave his beard? Well, obviously it's a little late. It was Zemi. Well, certainly not me. I don't have a beard anyway, and I would have gladly shaved my beard. Gerald Mack drops a $5 super chat, and shout out to one of the hardest working podcast content creators in the business. Thank you, dude. That's very kind of you to say. Mr. BoomStick and your all-star panel. Let's talk about Xbox E3. Yes, and that's what we're going to do for this entire episode. Good friend of the show, Psychonauts, drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, good afternoon, everyone on the panel and in the chat, and good afternoon to you, my brother. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, if you look at the world, the level of denial people can achieve, it's ridiculous and scary. Indeed. Nightwolf, generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I have to say, it won't be as big in scope, but I got serious Star Citizen vibes from Starfield. The ship and the environment alone looked very similar. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something special, I think. Gerald Mack, wow, he drops another $5 super chat and says, there's still a chance for PlayStation to play, but that's the game Jim Dance moves Ryan just has to accept Game Pass, and he never will. You'll never see Game Pass. You might see it on Nintendo. That's definitely something I think is coming. Maybe not this year. You will never see it on PlayStation because they will never allow it. It would be them losing if they did. Smitty Smith, generous friend of the show. Wow, he drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, so Boom, are you saying that Starfield's exclusive to Xbox? I need more clarification. Besides that many times it was explained in detail. LOL, God bless these fools out here. The Book of X, indeed.
Salute to Smitty Smith.
And Drawn TJ, good friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, don't forget, Boom, Xbox is going to have another showcase this Thursday. And yes, folks, guess what? We're covering it right here. We're going to be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we're going to go into the coverage, which starts with Paris Lily at 1 p.m. And then from there, we will talk about what was shown. And we're expecting, so I don't know if it's going to be deep dives. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to see new trailers, but we're definitely getting some people that missed E3. But we'll obviously we're going to soon find out as rumors start to percolate. Pong, let's get to you, brother. The question of the day is, has Microsoft's Xbox Game Studios answered the question of first party? And like me, do you agree that the conversation really isn't about what was there, but what wasn't and is coming?
Oh my God, Boom. Are you kidding me? That rumble in the distance that we talked about so many times, that is a full-blown roar right now. The avalanche has started. And for all the people who wanted to turn their back on it or cover their ears and not hear what was coming, again, anybody who understands anything knows that when you have as many development teams as Microsoft now does underneath their umbrella, as Xbox does within their family, that it's just a simple fact that we know that these teams are making games. And when you look at how many they're going to be producing, right, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can plan it out for I don't know how long now. Microsoft has been talking about, Xbox has been talking about that they want at least one big game per quarter. Yep. And when you look at what they've got, without talking about any future acquisitions, which we know is going to happen, they've got the ability to do that now. And what they did on Sunday was start to show that roadmap, right? They focused on what is coming very soon. Yeah, we saw a couple games that are further out, but what we saw was just what is coming in the next probably 12 to 18 months, right? And that's what they wanted to do because, as we've talked about on this show, Boom, what is going to happen at this point is that they are going to have to spotlight so many different games coming all the time that they're almost going to have a quarterly show just to show what's coming in the next quarter or two, because of the simple fact that you can't get through all of the content at just one stage like an E3, or even two stages, let's say E3 XO or E3 VGAs. You're not going to be able to show everything you want to. So yes, they answered the call in spades right here, because as you listed off all the games that weren't shown, and then you throw in Exile, Compulsion, working on IPs that we aren't even seeing or know about yet, that just adds to that. 2022, 2023 are going to be even bigger, right, than what we saw here. And then that still excludes all third-party deals, all second-party deals, and even excludes a lot of the smaller games, the indie titles that we're not even talking about. So again, this was Phil's vision all along. And when you have a service set up like Game Pass, and that is now your platform, right, for everything, when you have that Netflix model, you know that you have to put in content out consistently to keep people engaged. So again, people like us who have been looking at this for a long time saw this coming. The people who wanted to turn a blind eye, the people who just want to keep narratives running. Again, I can't help you for your willful ignorance. I can't help you in that. Okay, you can do everything you want to shut out the information, but the information is simple facts. This is exactly what's going to happen. This was the plan all along. And if you think they're done, I'm here to tell you again, even though you're shutting your ears, they're not done yet. I've been saying forever they need 30 plus 30
At
plus
least 30 studios, yeah.
30 studios with 50 plus teams. That's their ultimate goal, to make sure that Game Pass constantly is filled with new stuff so that people are like, oh my God, look, I got to go try this. Oh my God, there's always going to be something for everyone. And the people that still aren't invested are going to finally get to a point where they can no longer ignore it. I think it's already there, but I know there's still some people on the fence. But once they start seeing the apps pop up on their TV, once a streaming stick possibility comes out where somebody can just walk into Target or Walmart or wherever and pick up a streaming stick for, let's say $40 or $90 with a controller,
yes,
and they can just plug it into their TV and have access to this with a monthly subscription. Those are the people that they have to continuously try to bring in. And that's what they're going to do, because again, eventually, just like Netflix back in the day when it first started out, yeah, there was a big group of people, but there wasn't a whole lot of content, but people started talking about it, started telling their friends, hey, this Netflix thing is pretty cool. We get all this cool stuff here. But then they ramped it up to 100. And that's what Xbox is doing. They're accelerating this process and trying to even jump ahead of where Netflix was in as far as the curve goes. I'm not talking about total subscribers. We'll see when they finally get there. But I'm talking about the curve of how long it takes people to really start talking about it consistently, where they're telling their friends, hey, look, this just dropped in Game Pass. This just dropped in Game Pass. You should come over here. We can play together. It's no big deal. It's a small subscription fee each month. You get access to 400 titles. I mean, come on over.
Yeah.
That's what they want. And they did that this Sunday. This was the start of their plans, and you could just see the confidence exuding from everybody up on that stage. You could just see that they have a clear vision and they know it's working, and they are full steam ahead. And you even got Satya coming out after the show and tweeting about it again, that they are all in, and what a pleasure it was to see what these studios are doing. This company is all on the same page, and they've got the train rolling at extreme rates right now, and they're only going to accelerate further.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. And well played. 3-bit. Let's get your opinion on this. For you, as someone that works within the business, a lot of people don't know that you worked with Ubisoft this E3, and that's really freaking awesome. As someone, as a fan, not from an industry point of view, but as a fan that has may or may not have questioned Microsoft's ability to pump out quality first-party games, was that question answered for you? And again, what wasn't there is really the crux of the conversation as to what was there, because when you add 1 and 1, it equals supposedly +2, but to me that told me that we're getting AAA bombs in an abundance. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, I thought the show, the way it flowed, I think is a common thing with people, where they're saying the show flowed very well. And
yes,
not to mention all the games that wasn't there. Crossfire X wasn't there. Scorn, Exomecha, Perfect Dark, Gunk. Those games were not there. And they're also going to have a showcase this coming Thursday, I believe, where some of those devs will probably
Obsidian
update
is
some
going to
of
be
them.
there. Ninja Theory is going to be there. There's going to be quite a few of the devs that missed out on the event.
Yes, and actually, Fable. This is something I just started realizing might look even better considering Horizon is using the older engine for Horizon 5, which I didn't know, and Motorsport and Fable will be using the updated version of the engine for next gen.
Yes.
So if you thought
Yes.
Forza Horizon 5 looked amazing, it's going to look it's going to look insane for Motorsport and Fable. And so we've been getting different articles about this event where it says Xbox exclusive game drought is over from IGN, or the Gamer is saying, despite stronger exclusive games on PS5, it's getting hard to recommend Sony's console over Xbox. So it seemed to take a lot for the media to get to this point where they started realizing, like Pong was saying, the ripple effect of games that are coming this year and even next year, like 2022 and 2023, it's going to be just ramping up to games coming out monthly. So when we're mentioning this on different shows, that because Microsoft has so many studios and that over time it's going to be a plethora of games, this is the vision of Phil's or this generation of Xbox of Game Pass. Game Pass is not getting it down in quality of games. Like I keep seeing the rental thing, but instead it's going to encourage developers to try new things, knowing they have the financial backing. And on top of that, since there's so many studios releasing content, they are not bound by the limitation they had previously, where they just relied on third-party deals and Halo, Gears, and Forza. Now Halo, Gears, and Forza can be the pillars that supports other content like Starfield, Redfall, and Outer Worlds 2. All these amazing games that they showed at the showcase, and so a bunch of AAA games are coming, and
Yeah.
yes, I'm really excited to see the games that we don't even know about even further than that, because we didn't see an update on Indiana Jones or some of these other games that are rumored but wasn't at the showcase. So yes, there's just so many games coming up the pipeline for Xbox, and not to mention all the games that were at the showcase. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. I do believe the first party questions has been answered, and the games they did show was just crazy. Like 27 games at that showcase were coming straight into Game Pass, with the exception of like 3 or so, right? So amazing.
Yeah, you know what? Real quick, once you jump out, people saying in the chat that you're botting a lot. Yeah, I heard it come out. So yeah, jump out, jump back in, and we'll bring you back in for the next question. But Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your opinion on this. You know, we were talking in the green room before we went live, and you were obviously very impressed with the first party. But again, I have to propose the question. I think it's a fair question. Was the first party question for you personally answered during the E3, and what are your thoughts on that?
It was, although there's a handful of studios that didn't make an appearance, but I was really hoping to hear at least something. And yeah, we got one hell of a funny trailer with, excuse my language, with Outer Worlds 2.
Yes, that was
I think
a
that was like the darling
well-produced trailer, dude. That was funny. Yeah.
But there's so many studios now, to at least see a handful of them with some of the games that are in the pipeline was fantastic. I mean, would I have preferred Motorsport being there? Sure, but I'll happily take Forza Horizon 5, considering how great that thing looks. Like, it really looks like you're looking at a live photo as opposed to a game, and it's like, oh, that's nice, a scenery pic. Maybe that's like one of the pictures they took while they were there, and then the cars drive by, and it's like, oh no, that's what it's going to look like in game. Oh, and we're looking at a stream, and even when you go back and look at the 4K stream, that's still a stream. It's going to look even better when it's native on your console when you're playing it. But I think in the grand scheme of things, the first party question has been answered. There's games that we saw from previous shows that are still in the works. There's a whole mess of games that are in the works, as well as ones coming before the end of the year. I mean, Halo, like, I'll be honest, and a lot of people know, and I hate to pull my fraud card out here, but I don't necessarily, I haven't been indoctrinated in the Halo franchise until I came over to Xbox, this past generation. So playing Halo 5 was fine for me. I liked the story. I know a lot of people didn't like it because it didn't follow maybe the normal franchise, story track, or it wasn't to their liking, but I enjoyed it. And I look forward to Halo Infinite. But that multiplayer, like everybody talks about, okay, Battlefield 2042 looks great. I thought that multiplayer, trailer or highlights and things, and then they had the even deeper dive showing later. Um, as far as for that multiplayer, that definitely got my attention. So I would have to believe anybody that had any questions about first party for Xbox, just seeing that show, there was something for everyone there from their first party as well as other third party partners and things like that. But you gotta, it's amazing how well things are coming along. And like I said, we're talking about 23 studios, 35 teams. They're going to be doing content updates. Like Sea of Thieves is a game I don't normally play, but seeing that Disney DLC definitely has me interested. So, the Pirates of the Caribbean, great movie and everything like that, but it just seems like a perfect fit for Sea of Thieves. It now will have that story track. Well, although I know they've had like some single player campaign stuff prior that you can do, but this is definitely going to draw a lot more people in. It's going to draw me in for once. But man, it was an awesome show. I think they now have to figure out how they position all these games. Like the old die, or the meme died on the 13th, but the Xbox has no games meme, that's dead. Anybody that says it must either be in a bubble or been hiding in a cave or under a rock or something. But considering how many games they have in the works right now, they got to figure out how they position these. Like, yeah, I know that they said they want to have one every quarter. If you just count what they have coming now between their stuff and first part or third party stuff, it's going to be like a nonstop flood of games, to the point where it's like it's now going to be a backlog catalog type of deal, and you just kind of like handpick. All right, these are the 3 games I can play this month, and then they just dropped another 6 this week. So yeah, I think all first party stuff has been answered. And with later stuff coming this week on Thursday, and then Gamescom, I mean, we all see what they did at the VGAs. I mean, the Video Game Awards could also be another stop where they show some stuff. But I'm pretty happy with what they showed on Sunday, and look forward to not just the end of this year, but all of next year. And man, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of surprises throughout coming forward.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's an unannounced XO that we think that they're going to have towards the end of the year for an additional announcements, which would be kind of dope. Again, we'll see. But Kirby Louise, let's get your opinion on this. Were you satisfied with first party, and are you in agreement with the panel that the future for Xbox first party is no longer an issue?
Absolutely. I think pretty much everyone has already said, what I think already, but I mean, there's really something for everyone, which I think is what their goal was with the acquisitions and Game Pass and that whole shtick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And something, adding all those studios again, 35 plus teams making games. What that does is give you exactly what you just said. It gives you the ability to satisfy a significant number of an audience, not just diehard, first-person bro dude shooters or open-world RPGs or third-person story-driven games, but you get a little mix of everything. And I think that's a great way to sum it up for sure. And I think you're onto something with that. And I think it's important to even say it, because I think we've heard Phil say it many, many times that his goal is to make Game Pass, something for everyone, and I think they've proven that with all of their first party games, but more specifically, especially in the indie community, in their second party and third party deals, whether they're exclusive for a month or 2 months or even a year. Games like Scorn, games like Stalker 2, games like The Ascent, games like 12 Minutes. These are games that are coming, and it is going to be quite impressive when you can play. I mean, when you look at the catalog is going to have $50 million titles, but right next to those $50 million titles, they're going to have games that were put together with 3 people, and they're all going to be as relevant as as the other. And I think that is the best way I can say it is that you're going to be able to play what you want, but more importantly, every game matters that's going into Game Pass. And I think that they really did nail that message down. When you have 27 of the 30 games going into Game Pass, you're really saying something. And the dedication to that feature set that they want to push forward. I mean, Xbox is always going to be the brand, but Xbox Game Pass is going to be the place that they want people to subscribe to play these games, and they're offering an unbelievable amount of value. But you know what? I want to get on to what everyone's surprise picks were, and I'm going to go to Zemi first on this because I mentioned I think I know what they are, but Zemi, there were a lot of surprises for me personally, and it was hard for me to lock down just a few. But I'm interested to get what were your top picks of the event, and what was for you the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise? Come on, I mean, you know the answer, right?
I know the answer, but I'd rather you say it than me say it because that wasn't one of my picks of the show.
Well, A Plague Tale Requiem,
hello?
that was my big surprise, like my hallelujah moment. I mean, as soon as the trailer started, I knew exactly what I was looking at. Well, at least I really thought I did. And then I saw Focus Home Interactive, and I was like, oh my god, this is A Plague Tale. And then I saw Sobo's name pop up, and I was like, it really is. I was so excited. I saw the huge flood of rats, and man, dude, that game looks fantastic. I cannot wait until I think next year, whenever it comes out.
Next year it's coming out. Yep.
Yeah. Super excited for that. Probably the second game would probably be 12 minutes. I mean, we already knew that it was a game. We already knew that it was happening, but we didn't, really have a release date, right? And now we do, and now I'm really, really happy and excited. I cannot wait for that game. I believe in 2018, it was like my game of E3 like that year, right? Like that was like out of all the games, that was the game that like captured me and caught my eye the most was 12 minutes. Or honestly, it might have been E3 of 2019. I really can't remember. But I 100% remember that game. I cannot wait to play it. Constantly, I've been looking up. I think, privately, I actually said to you, I was like, Boom, do you have any idea when this game is going to come out? Like, can you find out for me? I need to know.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find out. But, and then lastly, I think probably Starfield, finally being able to get that release date, have that cemented in. It's Bethesda, so the chances of them delaying are pretty slim. They're usually, whenever they give you a release date, it usually is that release date. So I thought that was really exciting. And then also getting to see that actual trailer that's, something other than just seeing, a beautiful looking planet, with a horizon and the Starfield logo popping up, actually, getting to look at the characters and see the character walking around the ship, climbing up the ladder. I don't know how that excited me so much, but it did. I think, and now I'm, constantly thinking about what exactly is Starfield. Like, I still believe it's going to be, Elder Scrolls Fallout in space, but
Yes.
It could be something else. I hope it's Elder Scrolls or Fallout in space. But I'd probably be excited regardless of what it is. It's Bethesda, and it's, my hero and savior, Todd Howard, praise his name. But yeah, those are it. Those are my 3 picks, and A Plague Tale is definitely the biggest surprise of the show.
Nice, and I agree. Pong, so let's get to you. What was the surprise of the show for you personally? What were your top picks?
All right. Well, I can go with well, let's put it this way. Okay, so top surprise for me, there's actually a couple, but I'll start with Stalker 2. Stalker 2 showing off the gameplay And we talked about this at length during one of our shows, Boom, about what Stalker 2 was, about the history behind it with the Metro team, and all that good stuff. And to see that pretty big clip of gameplay and to see this team that was basically out of business. I mean, that studio was gone. And for them to put back together, and this team isn't big. I think they're at 100 people, maybe under 100 people at the moment, to put together such an impressive showcase for next gen hardware. It was incredible. And this is a studio on the rise. We talked about it on the show when we actually went in depth on this one. This is a studio on the rise. And I hope Phil and his team are looking at those guys over there if for a possible acquisition, because these guys are obviously talented, but the lighting effects, the ray tracing, the lightning effects were absolutely the electricity from the railgun. And then when the lightning struck that gigantic framework, that tower or whatever it is, and it just really impressed me. And it was good to see so many people on social media go nuts over Stalker 2 and then going, oh, this looks like Metro. Yeah, guys. Yeah, this is half of the original team that did Metro. This is what started Metro right here. But I'm just excited for everyone to jump into this world that did influence heavily Metro. But Stalker 2, I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see how much of the, when I talked about the original Stalker was a lot like Fallout. In which, to the nth degree, it was like more like the original Fallouts, where decisions mattered, where you had choices to make with different factions within the Stalker world, and how that was going to change the way that the game, interacted with you and you interacted with the game. I can't wait to see how much of that is still included in this new one. But man, did they impress and really stand out in this showcase. So that was definitely my biggest surprise. And then, again, Atomic Heart showing up. Now, Atomic Heart is another one that nobody's talked about. This game has been in development for, I think, 6-7 years now. I've seen glimpses of it. A little weird. Yeah, I've seen glimpses of it, but again, one of these smaller studios producing something that looks, and feels triple A. It's got that BioShock feel with it, mixed in there with maybe a little bit of Fallout, maybe, all these different games kind of mixed into one. It looks so impressive, and to find out that Xbox went out and got that for Game Pass day and date, man, that made my heart sing, because as I watched that trailer, I was like, this is someplace I want to go. This is something I want to try out. I want to see what all this weird stuff is going on. I really want to dive into that one. So Atomic Heart was definitely a surprise. I did not even think we were going to see it at any point, because it kind of went underneath the radar, kind of like Biomutant had disappeared for years. Atomic Heart's been there, but they really haven't said a whole lot about it. So that was a big surprise. And I guess you can count these as my show, my favorites too in the show. Obviously seeing Starfield finally. And again, yes, would I've liked to see more, but it is what I said would happen if it was going to be a 2022 release. I died on my 2021 hill along with others. I gasped my last breath up on that hill. But as I was gasping my last breath, I got to see a trailer, which definitely, again, I don't know why people are saying I still don't know what this is. There's been supplemental interviews now that have come out. There's been another kind of short piece of behind the scenes look in which Todd is talking about it. It is going to be, he described it in one of the interviews as Skyrim in space. And then one of the other creative directors actually said, and this is the boom. This is, I can't be any more hyped for this game, but when one of the other creative directors, I forget who it was, came out and said that it is a Han Solo simulator. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? 11/11/22. I'm already putting in vacation time. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a game about exploration. And Todd, in one of the short video pieces that could have actually been included, I think, in the E3 presentation, except for time, I think did a great job of talking about how you're going to go out and discover new worlds, create your own stories, and also experience the stories that we have created for you. My God.
Yeah.
All in 100,000%. That this is it. This is going to be a great sci-fi adventure, and I cannot wait for Starfield. So it was great to see the trailer. I thought they did a really good job with that. Hades coming to Game Pass, another big surprise. Huge get for Xbox and Game Pass. That is amazing. I've been waiting on that one. Obviously, I don't own a Switch. I don't do PC, so for it to be coming to Series consoles and obviously getting that Game Pass treatment, I am so happy. I'm going to finally be able to play Hades. Otherwise, that replacement, that small indie title that caught everybody off guard with that 8-bit style, that pixel art style.
One of my picks for the show.
Oh my! Like, and the developer actually came out and said the last night, which we are waiting on. As far as an indie game, a lot of people that one that looks like Blade Runner in a lot of ways. He said that heavily influenced his game, and you could see it when it first started up. I
thought it was the last night when it first started.
Yeah. 3-Bit and I were in Xbox Ultimate doing the live reactions, and both him and I said, "Hey, this looks like the last night. What's going on?" And then they kind of showed it, and it was like, okay, well, is this more of like a kind of like a mystery kind of horror style, because there wasn't a whole lot going on, but it was really dark and depressing. And then all of a sudden he gets into the action, and he snaps that guy's arm and then caps him right in the back of the skull. I mean, it was like, what is this? So yeah, that was a real attention grabber there. I'd be remiss not to say Halo, just because of how they showed it. Again, having Joseph Staten's fingerprints all over it. The passing of the baton with Bonnie on stage was kind of funny, actually, the way she passed it over to him. But you can tell, like, we talk about the show as an entirety. You could see Bethesda's imprint on the show, the pacing, all that kind of stuff. You can tell they had an influence. I'm not going to say that they, just changed the entire thing, the entire show from what Xbox would have done. But what I'm saying is you could see that they had some presence there, and definitely helped. Well, the Halo stuff that they showed, especially, between the slice of the single player that we did get with Chief and Cortana 2.0, if you want to call her that.
Yes.
That was Joseph Staten. That was going back to Bungie's roots. That's going back to where Halo started. And even as a casual Halo fan, I had goosebumps. Again, I've played them all. I'm just not heavily invested into the world, but just to hear the conversation between him and Cortana 2.0 gave me goosebumps. And that is that old school feel. I mean, you're talking about a guy who wrote and had his hands all over all the Halos up through ODST, and you could see that here. And then with the multiplayer, and again, I don't speak from a point of expertise because I'm, again, just a casual Halo fan. I enjoy them, but I just don't deep dive them. But even listening to 3-Bit and Mav talk about how it gave them those old feels again. The multiplayer trailer looked like a Bungie trailer, and even from the outside looking in, I could see that direction that they are looking at, just how they cut the or how they edited the video was completely different from what we've seen in the past, when it came to 343. So I think Joseph Staten really, really cemented himself, and really solidified the thought process that it was a great move to bring him in and kind of take over and kind of calm everybody down at 343 and get everybody refocused on what they needed to be focused on, if that was a problem in the first place. Again, I don't have inside information, just from what we saw from the outside, but he really definitely did something special, and got Halo Infinite to the point where it needs to be to show like it did at E3, and that is a good thing. That was beautiful. So
yeah, I walked away from that trailer with a double mindset. One, the single player cutscene gave me Halo Combat the OG Halo Combat Evolved feels. And for me personally, I've said this on numerous times on many shows, my favorite Halo is Halo 3. for a tremendous amount of reasons. It's the most time I've ever spent in a Halo, specifically on multiplayer, and seeing that multiplayer in all of its glory made me think of Halo 3, and I think that is what they were going for, and that's what I think that they achieved for sure. Before I get to 3-bit, I want to get to the super chats. Gerald Mack drops an additional $5 super chat and says, the E3 show was just a marble on top of a snow-packed mountain, and it's starting to snowball. Indeed, I think you're onto something with that. And Proof Triple J drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, there are at least 21 announced first-party games coming in the next 2.5 years or so, and many others unannounced. In Exile, Compulsion, etc. For future reference, my gamer tag is pronounced Proof Triple J. I think I got it right. So I think it's I think I got it right the second time. But thanks so much for the generosity, my brother. I appreciate you being here. Lazy Couch Gamer drops a $5 super chat and says this. So Redfall is playable alone and with friends. If I had to guess, I would say that it's always a party of 4 with 3, 2, 1, or no bots. Would you agree? Yeah, I think you're onto something with that. I think that it is going to be because you could play Left 4 Dead by yourself, right? It was just with bots. So I think that this is going to be something similar. Not so much so like Left 4 Dead. I think this is going to be a more story driven. I mean, come on, it's the same team that brought us Dishonored, so you know it's going to have a monster story. So yeah, I think you're onto something with that, Lazy Couch Gamer. DeAndre Banks drops not one but $2 super chat and says Forza Horizon looked better than anything on PlayStation 5. I mean, I would say that that's a strong statement. What they showed was just a marvel. And he also says this, even some Sony fans said Xbox had a solid show. Yeah, I think that, look, here's the thing. If you remove console war BS and you just judge a show for a show, even if you are a die-hard Sony fan, and I can't wait to hear what Joe has to say on Thursday, you have to tip your cap. It was a solid monster show. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I think a lot of people did, and for good reason. But 3-bit, what was your surprise titles or your top picks of the E3 Xbox Bethesda conference?
Oh man, I honestly, the game that surprised me the most, was probably Replaced. You know, and Pong was hitching on it a little bit, but yeah, that game is definitely the spiritual successor to the never released game, The Last Night, and the visuals of that game blending these sort of 3D elements to a 2D game, and the lighting on that game was just phenomenal. And another surprise to me was Hades coming straight into Game Pass. I know that studio did have a sort of bad history with Microsoft in the past, so getting to see them return to Xbox, not only just coming back, but releasing their first title on the Xbox in a while, coming just straight to Game Pass. So that was really a surprise for me, and of course Halo, right? Getting to see those updated visuals for on Chief's suit, the visor looked incredible, and getting to see another AI that Chief has to take care of sort of reminds me of that last conversation Master Chief did have with Cortana, where he said, or she said, you know, if they replace me with another AI, it won't be me, right? So it sort of hit me in the feels getting to see Chief sort of hesitate when he was floating in space. He hesitated grabbing the gun because the dead Marine was next to him, and seeing that small moment of empathy is what I love about the Chief. And that was just incredible, getting to see that multiplayer for the first time, and the potential of what I want to do to people with the grapple hook is going to be awesome. I'm really excited for that game. And Pong mentioned Atomic Heart. That is a game that people need to start looking at. It's sort of like a BioShock mixed with some other Russian sort of lore. I think people should just be paying attention.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something with that as well. I mean, listen, again, I love seeing new games that we didn't expect, especially from smaller developers that we never knew about. I think that is something that Microsoft is going to continue to push, and I'm happy for it, to be honest with you, because obviously we get new games, new experiences from different perspectives, more importantly, from different parts of the world. I think that is awesome. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your opinion. What was your top picks, and what was the biggest surprise for you at E3 2021?
My list is going to be kind of unusual because I'm going to start from the lower level of my top picks all the way up to my surprise. Well, my favorite pick and then my surprise pick, because I have kids, party animals.
That
I've
is
played
a big one with a lot of people doing it.
I was totally going to say that too, Fuzzy. I was totally going to say that. They might have the new Fall Guys on their hands. They really
yes.
might.
Yeah,
Yes.
because me and my kids have played like what is it called, Gang Beasts a lot of times. So having something like, Party Animals, that's just going to be the family chill game that we just play while we're ordering and takeout or something along those lines. So that was a nice addition in there. Finally getting a release date for 12 minutes. Like, man, I've been waiting for that one for a while. And it was good to see that one there. Um, Man, there was just so many good things there. Like with Replaced, I also same vibes as far as like the Last Night. But by the way, the creator for the Last Night, I guess, tweeted what was it, yesterday? So the
Yesterday he
Last
did,
Night is
yes.
still in production, but Replaced definitely has that similar feel and look, and can't wait for that. Like, it's basically, I think the main difference is instead of you being a human being in Replaced, you're going to be like some sort of AI or a robot or cyborg or something along those lines. Somerville, like, as somebody that
Yes.
enjoyed watching the Mitchells versus the Machines, that looks like a dark version of that like Pixar like movie. So
And that's from the same. That's from the same team. Part of the same team that did Inside and Limbo as well.
Yes.
So, yep.
So
Looks-
that's going to be a fun game to explore, and it looks like you're pretty much going to have to like rescue your family or stay together as a unit, or possibly try to locate part of your family as you go. So that one had like a nice strong family vibe for me with that. Then we're going to get to like Atomic Heart. Like I've been one of those that have been kind of silently looking forward to that, much like Biomutant. But it was one of those where I saw it was for PC, and then I saw it was going to come to PlayStation, and I even tweeted those guys. I was like, "Hey, when's the release date for Xbox?" This was like 6 months ago or so. No response. I'm like, "Oh, is this going to be one of those Sony paid for exclusivity type of deals?" But so glad to see it at the E3 conference, the Xbox E3 conference. So definitely looking forward to that. And then for me, I would say the second standout was Starfield, because I don't know as much as I would like to know, but there's a good bit of information out there. I just want something that it doesn't have to be a Mass Effect type of game, just the exploration aspect and having the graphics that it does. Like, I love No Man's Sky after all the patches and everything, and it's great to just putz around the universe in that game. But something that has a little bit more of a real aesthetic is what I was looking for, and Starfield definitely delivers on that. As far as what we've seen in that intro trailer, it looks like we're going to have some sort of mechanized machines as well, and there's just so much stuff that I can't wait to dive into next year on that game. But seeing anything of that was a must, and I'm so glad that they delivered on that. But me being a Forza fan, I have to end with Forza was my top pick. Just being photorealistic, the photogrammetry, having ray tracing, having new features like the convertible top that you could put down outside of Forza Vista. Like, for those that play Forza as much as I do, there was just lots of little nuggets of things that are going to be different or improved, like dust storms. Like, I'm used to dust storms in the Division 2. You start playing and then the sky turns orange, and then you got all this dust and everything blowing around. You can barely see, the enemies can barely see you. Now I'm gonna have to drive through that, which is gonna be kind of fun to do, kind of like a storm chaser, role play type of thing in there. But as far as like the surprise, like it's a tough deal, because I really like what I saw for Redfall, but I'm gonna give it to Contraband being the big surprise, because yes, I know Jez and a few others had tweeted about the whole tsunami thing or whatever, and jokingly, when I heard that Avalanche might be an acquired studio, I'm like, oh, great. If Xbox acquires them, they could do Crackdown 4 or something like that. Just imagine the Just Cause craziness and the normal craziness you expect from Crackdown. So that might be something that they could handle. But to have them, even though, yes, we saw just basically background stuff, we didn't see any gameplay. It's all CGI and stuff. But the gist of a co-op open world game that has like this planning stuff. And a lot of people keep on saying heist. I don't see it as much as heist. I see it more so like planning, like almost like a Tomb Raider where you have more
Yes.
control over the story.
Yeah.
And to have something like that with a team that makes huge open worlds, like Avalanche, I think is, unless you want to count space stuff, I think they're on record for having the biggest open worlds, and they're full of stuff that explodes and to interact with and things like that. So just imagine like you're kind of like a Lara Croft or what's his name from
Nathan
Uncharted,
Drake.
and you're planning to get this crown jewel box from somewhere, and just going through that whole deal. That to me, I definitely want to see more of it. I'd love to see gameplay, but I know it's a ways down the road. But that I'm so glad that that's what that game was, because I know when Jez had hinted to it before, and he was like, "Well, even if I told you what it was, you'd be like, oh, that's an interesting concept, but you really wouldn't get it." But I'm looking so forward to seeing more of that, and just something that looks like you're going to plan finding stuff throughout an open world, and you're going to have your friends along with you type of deal by a group that makes large open worlds that are interactive. Yeah, I'm all in. So that was my big surprise at the end.
Yeah, great picks. Kirby Louise, let's get to you, brother. What were your top picks and biggest surprise at the Bethesda Xbox conference?
So first off, I'm just going to preface this saying these are going to be some hot takes. I think people might get mad at me, but deal with it. Anyways, I'd say my top three would, in no particular order, be Stalker 2, Flight Simulator, and what was it? Replaced. And this comes because I am a developer, and more specifically, mostly a graphics programmer. So I get a look at those. Some of the things they were doing there, and stuff like ray tracing, 4K, all that business. It's something that I like to look at and try and learn something from. And particularly, what was it? Replaced. I looked at that was the game where I saw it, and I said, "Hold on, my Void 2D couldn't do that. That's something I want to learn now, or I want to find out more about, and add that kind of functionality to my engines." So I guess that's that for me.
Those are your three. But were there any surprises for you, though?
Surprises. I was surprised that Asobo is doing Plague Tale Requiem, even though they're contracted for 10 years of flight simulator support. I did not expect them to be able to do two games at the same time, but they surprised. Let's see, what else? There was Halo Infinite's multiplayer looked good, I think. I did not expect it to be as incredible as I thought it as it looked. I thought it would be decent, and there would be drama on social media over it, and console war this and that. But I think it 343 they shut up any doubters with the Halo Infinite multiplayer reveal.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Actually, you know what? That's great. That's a great segue into what we're going to talk about next, because I think it would behoove me if I didn't get Pong's opinion, of course, 3-Bit's opinion, and more specifically, Zemby Games' opinion on this. I talked about this last night, and you know my opinion on Halo. You understand what I thought of Halo because from last night's primetime gaming. So I'm not really going to give you my retake on it, because you know what I think. I'm interested to hear what the panel has to say, and I'm going to go to Pong first on this one. Pong, this was a coming out party for 343 in the best way possible. Kirby just said it. He didn't anticipate them being able to pull this off, and the amount of a hill that they had to climb to get there is nothing short of astonishing. Now, granted, folks, we have not played the game. We're going based on what we saw. So if we're going on base what we saw, you have to get excited. Now, like I said in the middle of the conversation we had, for me as a and I'm like Pong, I'm an avid Halo fan. I'm a diehard fan, but I don't read all the books. I don't know all the back lore, but I enjoy playing the games. And for me, as someone that started with the OG Xbox in 2001 with Combat Evolved, I got that feeling from the single player trailer with the new 2.0 Cortana. I got that feeling, exactly what Pong said. He was hesitant to take the gun. Actually, I believe that was 3-Bit that said that, and he's having some connection issues. I don't know if he's going to be back, but if he is, we'll get him back in here. He showed empathy for the dead Marine. And that was, I mean, how long was that? What, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes at most? To see that kind of empathy from a trailer just goes to show you the work that's going into it. But it's the multiplayer that I think is back, and I think what they were able to achieve in what they showed, besides the excitement of the fans. And like I said, if you like myself enjoy reaction videos, I implore you to go seek some of them out on YouTube. They are absolutely amazing. Seeing people yelling and screaming and getting excited, it gives me goosebumps just talking about it, because that's really what it's all about. That's what gaming is supposed to do for you, and it does for me on a regular basis. Pong, what did this trailer do for you? Did 343 answer all of the questions?
Oh, with a resounding yes. Again, until we see the full game and can actually get our hands on with it, of course, there's always going to be still some questions. But at the end of the day, this trailer put to rest a lot of the concerns, whether founded or unfounded, depends on who you speak to, from last year's showing, right? So for this to come out and show the way it did, for Halo Infinite to look, and just from the way that we saw, the multiplayer playing, I'll say feel like Halo, 343 showed up in a big way and definitely proved to everybody that needed this, that they have spent their time well. That this year delay was well worth it, that they are getting together and implementing all the stuff that they talked about, whether it was the lighting, whether it was the just the simple, the wear and tear on weapons and armor, down to the details that they have now added. I think I've seen a bunch of comparison shots from previous stuff that we have seen to now, and the details that they have been able to implement onto armor, weapons, etc. just looks absolutely incredible. Not to mention all the physics that we heard about. We got to see a little bit of those physics. When that guy takes that, I don't even know what the weapon called, that new weapon that shoots kind of like a spear projectile, and he shoots that warthog, and the way the warthog reacts, and the way it reacts depending on where that shot hits, and then to see just all the little stuff they included in that trailer, like the grapple hook being used in so many different ways. Again, they told us that was going to happen. We all assumed that's the way that the grapple was going to work, but to see it in action, to see yourself be able to grapple jack vehicles, right, and be able to grab weapons. He grabs a grab hammer from across the way and then can instantly use it, right? All of that kind of stuff is just mind blowing to see it in action. I mean, to see it going on, it gives you all these great ideas of what you're going to be able to do in multiplayer, right? That's what my mind was running through. When he used the sticky to blow the sword towards him and grabbed it in midair. Of course, I know I'm probably never personally able to pull that off, but it still made my.
What about the grapple to the sniper?
Yes.
No scope?
Yes. I said instantaneously when we were streaming it, I'm like, oh God, 3-bit, I do not want you to have the grapple snipe combo. This is going to be awful for everybody else. So
what about bouncing back the projectile?
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, I didn't even see it the first time. I think Mav or somebody else had brought that up, and I was like, what? And I had to go back and rewind it to watch it again. But yes, what is that mechanic? So I think 343 answered a lot of the doubters' questions when it comes to this. I don't think there's any denying it that they have put a ton of time to get this thing polished, and we still have another, probably good 4 months of polishing before they really start wrapping things up here. 3 months at least, depending on the release date. I think that they, again, for the year delay, as much as it caused consternation amongst fans and amongst the Xbox community when they did it, even though most people probably realized they had to do it, I think that in the end they are going to come out looking like superstars once more. And I think good on 343, because again, we could talk about whatever we've talked about at death, having criticism for management or whatever the case may be, but we know there are so many devs over there who have poured their heart and soul into this game. So to see it come out and shine like this was absolutely fantastic. It was a phenomenal showing for Halo. And I can't wait to see more, and to see what we get to do, especially when it comes to the campaign and the co-op aspects of that. I can't wait to see what kind of adventures I can find with people, and that's really the exciting part. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I'm very much looking forward to Halo Infinite's multiplayer. I'm almost at two minds with it. I'm not sure what do I want to play first. As much as I'm a single player, selfish experience kind of a gamer, that multiplayer looks fire, dude, and it looks so good that I would actually potentially try that before even the single player, which is something that I normally would never do. Zemi Games, let's get your opinion on this. Obviously you're a big Halo fan. Maybe you're not as big as as the biggest guy on the planet, but you obviously have a tremendous amount of respect for what they did. For you, seeing the lead up until this E3, coming off of July of 2020, a lot of people were down on Halo. A lot of people didn't think 343 could deliver, and I think that those questions were answered. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the showing of Halo this time around was definitely a lot better than what it was the previous year. The multiplayer, I really am excited to jump in and give that a whirl. I've been thinking to myself, like, what is going to be the multiplayer game that I'm going to be playing like throughout this holiday, right? Is it going to be Call of Duty? Is it going to be Battlefield? Is it going to be Halo? What is it going to be? And I honestly, after seeing that, I think it's going to be Halo. I really, really do. But what I was even more impressed with was the actual, story that we kind of got from the CGI, or maybe it wasn't CGI. I have no idea, but it, kind of looked like a CGI trailer, of the chief, floating around in zero gravity, hesitating to grab that Marine's assault rifle, meeting up with the, quote unquote new Cortana, and, that whole interaction I really, really love. And I'm hoping and I'm kind of expecting that is a part of the game. And if it is, I am very, very excited to see what they're doing with the story. Like you, Boom, I was not the happiest at Halo 5, their storyline during that game. But if the themes that we kind of saw in this new trailer, with once again the chief floating around zero gravity meeting the new Cortana, if that is any indication of this new story for this game, I am really, really, really excited for it. As soon as Chief pulled out that chip from the back of his helmet and like put it out towards like the new Cortana, like I started like cheering a little bit. Oh, Chief's got a new buddy. It's great. He's not alone anymore. but yeah, no, I think it was night and day, show between the previous E3. One thing that I actually did notice, and in some ways, I'm kind of I don't know how I feel about it, is they didn't show, unless I'm mistaken, they didn't show actual gameplay from the single player the way that they did this
No,
last time
no,
around.
no, they didn't.
And so I'm really, really, really wanting to see more from that, department, because, it's not going to be a straightforward linear cut game like it has been, and in almost every other iteration of Halo. And so, with that, new world exploration, whatever we want to call it, I'm really interested to see even more of that, and kind of know better how that exactly is going to work, right? And of course, I think we will definitely see that before the game launches. We might, maybe even see it this Thursday, probably not. But that was one thing I also noticed, that, if they could have made it any better, for me personally, it would have been showing a repeat of the gameplay that we saw at the at the original showing during last year's E3, or maybe not the exact showing, but showing us some form of single player gameplay. I would have really, really liked.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with that. I mean, but you know what? I'm okay with what they gave me, because obviously I think they wanted to set up the ambiance of what we could expect with this game. They did that with the
Yes,
interaction between the new AI, and even opened up the door for a mystery of who deleted Cortana, and
Yeah.
if she even deleted at this point. We
Well,
don't know.
because it was kind of interesting, because it kind of sounded like Cortana was indicating that the chief did it, or somebody that looked like the chief did it. But see, I'm also thinking maybe some Jason Bourne amnesia might be going on or something, because of course, from the original trailer that we saw, Chief was just out and about, floating around in space, and that pilot, just comes along and finds him and kind of rescues him. I'm really, really interested to know what led the chief to that moment, and is it possible that maybe the chief maybe has some form of amnesia and he doesn't remember deleting, or maybe having to delete, or anything, that version of Cortana.
That's an interesting theory for sure. I mean, only time is going to tell. But
Yeah.
I like what you're going. 3-bit, are you back, brother?
I don't know, man. My internet's kind of going crazy right now.
Yeah, you're starting to bot again, dude. Yeah. I'm not sure what's happening, brother. But listen, obviously, I'm sorry that you're having issues, but you're definitely botting. But we'll try and come back to you in a bit. Fuzzy Belvedere, we got to get to you, brother.
Yeah.
This is something we were talking about in the green room before we went live. Like I said, my opinion is already out there and open for everyone to hear. What's yours? Did 343 answer the questions?
Yes, and to tack on to what Zemi was talking about, as far as like with Chief not remembering, I've kind of had this weird theory ever since they put Infinite as the title. There's going to be some sort of time travel loop or something along those lines, especially considering we had a similar intro last year to like a previous Halo game, as far as how you're flying towards the turrets and all that stuff. So I have a feeling that there's some sort of like time space loop or continuum or some, just not to be a spoiler, but I get that vibe. But as far as my overall feel, as far as what 343 did, I think, yes, even though they didn't show the campaign gameplay, the cutscene, the level of detail on the suits and things along those lines, I think that for me was enough. I'm pretty sure if they got that down, they got some of the gameplay issues as far as at least on the series consoles. Now, I don't want to spread FUD or anything like that as far as like with the Xbox One, but I'm pretty sure they'll be able to scale things back or scale things down if need be, if pop-in is still an issue on those consoles. But I'm pretty sure the series consoles, that game is going to run like butter as far as overall smoothness and have the textures and things like that all wrapped up, especially with that extra year of time. Multiplayer, man, like I said, I can't remember if I said it earlier in this show or if it was just in the green room, but like as someone that doesn't always or hasn't played Halo from the beginning, just 5 is my earliest entry. That multiplayer as much as people are excited for Battlefield 2042, I'm excited for Halo's multiplayer. That had me going as far as some of the not just the grappling mechanics, but the physics for the vehicles now, being able to have, vehicles brought to you and dropped and stuff like that. I mean, I think they've learned, and I know Pong, and I think you, Boom, were talking earlier about how like someone must have learned from, like, I guess Bungie's like video editing team or something, as far as the way that they position that trailer and stuff like that. So I'm pretty confident that 343 will be able to, you know, bring Halo back to its greatness without any question. No more, oh, this isn't Bungie's Halo anymore. Well, it hasn't been Bungie's Halo for a while, but I actually think I'm going to prefer the 343's version when Infinite drops. I overall, the just everything that they showed, and then having like the deep dive trailer where you had like the reactions and things like that. I'm pretty certain they've answered all the questions. We'll get more as time goes on. I think about the only question that I'm waiting on is when's that demo? When's that multiplayer demo dropping? I know they had some sort of like insider program rings thing or something like that before, but pretty pumped to see if I can try that out as well.
Yeah, I mean that makes two of us. I don't know when they're going to have that. I mean they're notoriously have released a beta for the multiplayer well before the game releases, so they can get feedback. I think that we're going to be getting. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't want to try and put it down. Maybe the end of the summer, maybe early fall. I mean, but we still don't know release date, right? They did not lock down the release date. I still think it's the 15th of November, but you know, that's just my opinion. It's going to be interesting. I can't actually wait to play. Kirby Louise, let's get your opinion on Halo. Did for you, as someone from who looks at gaming from both sides of the coin, from both as a fan and a developer, did 343 answer the call?
I think I kind of talked about this earlier when we talked about the top three, but yes, I definitely think that they have done a good job. I mean, we saw, I believe, in-engine stuff for the campaign, which, in my opinion, generally in-engine is it's closer to gameplay than it is cinematic, if that makes any sense. Like, or in terms of how representative what the final product is going to be. So, you know, we saw that. And then, of course, we saw the multiplayer gameplay, which looked absolutely fantastic. And, I mean, this is the first time that I've owned an Xbox when a Halo game was, you know, launching. And so this is going to be the first time that I get to play multiplayer. And just from that one trailer, I could not be more excited for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I absolutely agree, and that's pretty dope. I'll put it this way: what I'm looking forward to, obviously, besides the game, I mean, at the end of the day, the game is what we're all waiting for. I'm interested to see how and what Microsoft does to celebrate Master Chief's 20th anniversary. Are we getting special edition controllers? Are we getting a special edition S and X? If they are, I have to buy them. I have an S, I have an X, but I will be buying those respectively if they're available. Again, I don't know how we're going to find them because you could barely find an S and an X now. How they're going to do that, but I do want to move on to. This isn't really so much a controversial topic. This is a bit of a thought-provoking one, and look, with everything that Microsoft did right, it's very hard to sit on any show, specifically today's show, and suggest that they did anything wrong, because I don't think they did anything wrong. But I'm interested for the chat to get involved in this, as well as, of course, the panelists here to talk about this, and pick your one game that wasn't announced, that hasn't been announced, that you're slightly disappointed about. And I'm going to go first on this one. Now, obviously, for me, it's very easy to say Killer Instinct 2 proper, but they don't have a studio to deliver it. So we understand that there's a bit of a hardship there. So I'm going to go with for me, the one game that we've heard nothing about from anyone, that they seem to just not want to talk about, and I don't know the reason why that is Banjo-Kazooie. I really thought, I mean, it was one of my picks for, the obviously Speculation Town picks. I thought we were going to get it at some point. There are so many. I mean, listen, Microsoft is basically the first or the second richest company in the world. They could potentially get someone to make this game if it's not with Nintendo, because Nintendo didn't announce it at their thing. They're apparently, everyone's saying in the chat that the Nintendo event was garbage outside of Breath of the Wild 2, which I'm going to watch after this stream so I can watch and give my own thoughts on it. But for me, it was Banjo-Kazooie, and the fact that franchise has still not been announced for a reboot, a remake, or whatever you want to redo it. I was actually a little disappointed with that, because I'm a big platformer guy. I'm excited for Psychonauts. I'm quite enjoying Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 5, and I really wish that they would answer that call. And I know we can't all have everything, and there's no reason to complain. And technically, I'm not really complaining, but I really wanted that to get an announcement. I've been very, very excited for that. Pong, let's go to you. What wasn't announced? The one game that you were hoping to see that wasn't there, that you hope at some point or another they talk about?
So are we talking about like IPs that we haven't seen in a while? We talking about
whatever you pick, dude. It's your call.
Well, I take every opportunity I have to say that, obviously Xbox, Microsoft have so many unused IPs in their catalog. It's ridiculous. So I would say Viva Pinata.
That's another great pick, dude. Great pick.
It fills so many roles in with what Phil has talked about that they want, as far as family friendly. I hate to say kiddie games, because some kiddie games are really awesome. So I always hate to use that term, but it would fill the role in so many ways to bring back that franchise. And it has the opportunity to, obviously grab a whole new generation of kids and people, because they really could do something special. We've seen the success of, so many games, Pokemon, all this stuff for decades. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm out of breath. I had to go chase down my dog. But ain't life grand, let me tell you. But I think that the big thing with Viva Pinata is that it has such a unique style to it. And I think that would really grab people these days. And to be able to have a game like that show up on Game Pass, man, you're talking about adding a whole lot to that lineup. So I think for me, that would have to be the one, Viva Pinata.
That's a strong pick. And something, considering that when Viva Pinata was made available via cloud, it was trending on social media. And that game is old as dirt. So we're talking Xbox 360.
Exactly.
So for it to be trending in 2021 because it was made backwards compatible via the cloud, that's saying that there's a market for that.
Correct.
And I think there were more than enough studios, because we've heard the conversations. Rare doesn't want to go back to older IPs.
Yep.
I don't know how factual that is, but that's what we've heard. They don't want to go back to Banjo-Kazooie. They don't want to go back to Cameo. They don't want to go back to Viva Pinata. You know what? That's fine. But you can find someone to make that game, and it's a shame that they haven't. I'm right there with you. Zemi Games, let's get your opinion. What wasn't there that you were hoping for them to announce, to bring back in a big way? What are your thoughts?
That's a really, really hard question, because everything that is like originally Xbox IP and like Xbox owned, like, they're doing that I want, right? So I really have to dig in deep and go back to a game that, Obsidian did a very long time ago, and I would absolutely love to see them bring back in some way. They probably won't. But that's Alpha Protocol, the spy.
You've always talked about that game.
Yeah,
dude.
the spy RPG.
With you.
I absolutely adored that game. I mean, looking back, apparently it did not get very good reviews, but I absolutely love that game, and I would love to see Obsidian, or just even another team all around pick up that IP and give it a second try, right? I thought that their first try was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I don't know. I think I was like in a really big like spy kind of like espionage like moment, because of like I think like at the time like Burn Notice was currently airing on TV and stuff. I was a big fan of that, but I really, really enjoyed that game. I thought it was a very unique take on an RPG. I don't know if anyone's ever made a spy, like a modern day spy RPG before, but Obsidian definitely did, and I really enjoyed that. I wish that they would make another one. But really, other than that, I mean, I guess I could say Fallout, but I mean, we know that that's going to eventually come, and we know the reasons why it's not, there currently. But honestly, the only thing that I can think of is Alpha Protocol. Everything, every IP that I am a huge fan for Xbox, they're currently working with. So I'm happy.
Well, I mean, Alpha Protocol, that's a strong pick because I know that it's one of your favorite games. And
Yeah.
even though it didn't get good reviews, that doesn't matter. It's still a game that you enjoyed, and that is ultra cool. But let's get Fuzzy Belvedere, and we'll get everyone out of here. We're closing in on the 2-hour mark. Fuzzy, what wasn't there that you were hoping that they would bring back in a big way? There you go. Strong pick. Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I thought that was coming. I really did.
I mean, I know it's not an Xbox owned IP, but it would have been very nice. I mean, there were some rumors that we would get something from Ubisoft as far as in Game Pass type of thing. And that's still something that may come, but man, to have Splinter Cell there would be, I would say it would be a 12 out of 10 at that point. But yeah, they didn't do anything wrong in my opinion. I would say the only first party game that I've heard rumors about and Phil's even talked about was Compulsion's game.
Yeah,
but
someone
I got
actually
a feeling,
said that. Flame in the chat drops $2 super chat and says Compulsion's game for me. Come on already. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny you should mention that because that was actually one of my personal picks to be there because of how Phil gave it such high praises.
I think he's holding on to that, especially with the rumors that I guess the next BioShock or whatever might be a PS5 exclusive type of thing, or whatever the case may be. In any event, I think they might be holding that one to kind of not necessarily be a counter, but they got so many games right now. They have to kind of let these drip feed out to us for a little bit. But yeah, Compulsion's game not being there, I would like to have seen it, but I'm not broken up about it at all. But Splinter Cell, man, I'm broken up about it not being at Ubisoft's show.
Eight years, dude. It's 8 years. It missed an entire generation. What the H?
Well, he's been in every Tom Clancy game except for his own.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, he's in The Division. Oh, he's in Ghost Recon. It's like, oh, he's in a phone game. Oh, now he's got an animated cartoon. Just make the freaking game. That's all.
Even if they just remade the original, take the original, give it the Resident Evil 2 remake, love and support, and call it square if you don't, and give you time to think of how to reboot it.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic idea. But Ubisoft, they don't seem to like money very much. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's interesting, and again, we don't know what. I mean, obviously, we didn't hear anything at the Ubisoft. If you don't hear it at Ubisoft, it's unlikely you're going to hear it at Xbox, and that's exactly what happened. And it's a damn shame for sure. Kirby Louise, close it out for us, brother. What wasn't there that you were hoping to make an appearance, whether that be an old IP, a new IP, whatever?
What wasn't there? Well, I guess
You're coming in real low, bro.
Sorry. It's my crappy mic. Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. It's I'd say probably Everwild. Because I mean, what Rare showed off, it was like 2019, I think that was the first trailer, and then it was shown off again with a cinematic or in-engine or whatever trailer at last year's E3, and then nothing now. And there were also reports around last year's E3 that they
Yes.
didn't know exactly what the gameplay was. So I'm just kind of wondering, what the hell is this? Where is it? What's going on with that? Obviously Rare did show up with the Sea of Thieves, Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, but in terms of Everwild, that was one thing I was hoping would be there, but didn't. And well, I guess also, when the heck are we going to get the promised resolution boosts and DirectML Super Resolution?
Again, this is good stuff. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Maybe I can get somebody on to potentially answer that. I'd love to get Jason Rowell on the show potentially one day and have him answer that question if it hasn't already been answered. But folks, this has been a solid 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed it. Real quick, Retro Wave drops a very generous $4 super chat and says, "I'm hyped. 8 out of 10 for Xbox show, the showcase, and 8.5 out of 10 for Nintendo. Those are his two main consoles." Yeah, I mean, listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion on the show and how they viewed it. I'm going to watch the Nintendo show right after I'm done with this and get everyone's and check it out for myself. I'm interested to see what they show for Breath of the Wild. I know something new, Metroid let off the 45-minute event. But listen, folks, thank you so much for being here. We had almost 400 people here today. I hope that you are enjoying the content. We will be back tomorrow. Not an Xbox Factor. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a Double Barrel Gaming Presents E3 so far. We're going to be going. We've come to the tomorrow will be the midpoint of E3 2021, and I will be breaking down some of the biggest announcements. Of course, that's going to be spanning a multitude of consoles and platforms as well as games. It's not going to be specifically Xbox. We will talk Xbox a bit, but we're going to be talking about what happened today at Nintendo's. We're going to be talking about what happened at Ubisoft's event. Obviously, Square Enix dropped what I thought was a megaton, in my opinion, in Guardians of the Galaxy. Not only does it exist, it's coming out this year in October, which was shocking. And the game looked fun. A lot of talking between the characters, which I thought was a little odd. But it's I think they were going for a real aesthetic with how they interact with each other during the MCU. I'm interested to see more on that. So we'll be back here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to give you an E3 update or an E3 rundown. Thursday, we'll be back again at noon for the Xbox Factor podcast with the regular panel, and we're going to be talking some Xbox. I got some stories I'm working on right now, and closing out these 6 days, 6 2-hour streams of content for Double Barrel Gaming. Breakfast with Boom will be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be doing the E3 wrap-up show. I believe King David is going to be joining us as well. I don't know, a slow-mo backslap. If he doesn't have to go into the office, he might be joining us as well. So I'm looking forward to coming from this round robin of 6 shows in 6 days and actually taking a break and playing some games, because that would be nice. The VG HD, who obviously was a panel member, drops a $5 super chat and says, "Sucks, I can't be on, but bless God, Howard, Lord Phil Aurelius, Maximus Spencer, and Sarah, Agent Bond 007 for putting on an amazing show." Indeed, my brother, thank you for being here. And Danny Passion drops Danny Passion Official drops a $2 super chat and says, "Just saying hello, people. Hellblade 2 for me." Yeah, I was hoping for Hellblade, but we might get that on Thursday's show during the Paris Lily event. Okay, we also got Splatman, who drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat and says, "Will Elder Scrolls go to PlayStation? A friend thinks it will. Tell your friend, no, it will not. The only way they're getting Elder Scrolls is Elder Scrolls Online, but Elder Scrolls 6, my friend, is going to be an exclusive for Xbox for reasons beyond the time to even say it. It's a big game. It's a big franchise, and Microsoft spent $7.5 billion to make sure that they can have exclusives that are relevant and will get high 90 metas. That game will, I can guarantee it. And you know what? That's going to be on Xbox and PC only. But again, if you are a Sony PlayStation fan, there are 2 ways to handle this. Cry in a corner and realize that you have to get Game Pass and just get it. Or play Elder Scrolls Online, and you can continue to play in the Elder Scrolls world. You just can't play Elder Scrolls 6. And sorry to be so abrupt about that, but that's life. I can't play Spider-Man on anything but a PlayStation 5. So, there you go. But listen, folks, once again, the super chats, they're humbling beyond more than words. Thank you so much for supporting Double Barrel Gaming. Of course, I want to thank everyone that tuned in for today's show. If you enjoyed today's programming, please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. And if you are already subscribed, consider hitting that like button. So let's get with the outros and get everyone out of here. Semi Games, we're going to start with you. What you got going on, brother? Where could people reach out to you on social media and tell people about theconstantgamer.com?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently I've been doing a lot on YouTube. The YouTube channel is called Constant Gamer. And I've been posting a lot of theory videos, news videos, and of course I also do game reviews and let's plays and all sorts of video game content over there on the Constant Gamer YouTube channel. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Watch some videos if you like the content. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Then you guys can also find me on Twitter just by using @ZemmyGames. And I am, somewhat a frequent poster on there. I recently posted the aftermath of my butchering of my beard, so you can see the before and after photos of my devastation that was cutting, my beard, shaving my beard. I also, post some gaming news on there. If I upload a new video, I'll post that out there. If I see something interesting, on social media or, a news article or something, I post it out. So, give me a follow on Twitter @ZemmyGames. Boom, fantastic show as always. Thank you so much for, obviously, those 2-3 years ago, whenever I sent you a message saying, "Hey, can I be on your podcast?" for saying the Y word. Yes. So thank you so much for that, and it was a pleasure being on the show today.
Well, thank you for being a part of it, brother. Definitely appreciate that very much. And of course, it was great. It was great to have you on today's show. Pong Soul, why don't you tell everyone about what you got going on? And quite frankly, there is a lot. Not only do you have your Saturday show at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with your good friend, but also you're a part of not only this show, but someone else's show that's become a regular with the community in MAV at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday evenings. Talk about that program and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Absolutely. Boom. It was great to be back with you. Missed last week, definitely on Tuesday, even though I got to be on Thursday's show. I still missed Tuesday's show with everybody. And this was fantastic to come back after E3. The hype has been real. They showed us everything that they possibly could. Even if you didn't get all the stuff that you wanted, there was still plenty there for everybody. So this was awesome to get to talk to you. Trying to catch up on all the amazing streams that everybody has done while we were doing our stream. I just love to see the community invigorated and just full of energy like this. This is truly an amazing time to be a gamer overall, no matter where you play. So again, appreciate you, Boom. Appreciate this awesome panel. It sucked that 3-Bit had to drop out here due to internet issues, but man, what a great day to have Zemmy back on, and a clean shaven Zemmy at that. That is beautiful, sir. I love the picture, by the way. And of course, with Fuzzy and Kirby guesting here, just a great day to come in and talk some games. So you can follow me, Pong Soul, everywhere, Xbox and Twitter. Otherwise, like Boom was saying, you can find me on Friday nights on the Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, aka Mav, his beautiful wife Caitlin, and the rest of the Magnificent Seven, including 3-Bit himself. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Come check us out. We always have a great time. We got a lot to talk about this Friday as well, obviously. And then Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word, with my brother from another, Steel, Rain, and I are just bringing you that morning talk that you need. So if you got nothing going on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, even if you're busy, put us on in the background like Boom does. Yep. Exactly. Come check us out. We're full of energy. We talk and talk and talk. We get the chat involved. We're just having a great time, great community. Over 200 subs already. We're going to do episode 13 this week, so come check us out there. And then Saturday nights, of course, with my brother Fuzzy Belvedere, I am on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Centurion, and Stagorilla, and Fuzzy. And that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Awesome show. PTK has been doing it for 5 years now. Just a great time. Short show, hour and a half, but we wrap up your Saturday evenings there. And then otherwise, you can catch me back here next Tuesday, Xbox Factor Podcast. No place I would rather be on a Tuesday for sure. So thank you all. Chat, you guys are amazing. I say it every show. I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it until your ears bleed. You guys are incredible. Each and every week you come out here. This was a big week. E3 turnout everywhere was incredible. And we can't do this without you. Wouldn't be here without you. So play what you love what you play, and we'll talk to you all real soon.
Yeah, thanks so much, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, where can people reach out to you on social media and potentially check out other shows that you were a part of?
Oh, well, first I would like to start off by thanking you, Boom, for having me on. Great panel here today, and thank you for letting me be a part of it today. You can find me on the Shop Podcast on Saturdays with my brother Pong here, as well as PTK, Centurion, and Sagarella. Always talking shop. It's pretty much, our hobby. It's so much fun to kind of relax on a Saturday night with the guys. But other than that, you may be able to catch a YouTube video that I'm going to release here fairly soon on Forza Horizon 5 and all the little details that were in the trailers and some of the stuff that they've been talking about on the forums. But other than that, you can usually also catch me on Twitter stirring up some controversy. Apparently, I guess a lot of people didn't understand the Xbox has no games meme dying and holding a moment of silence for it. Some people got it. Some are like, oh, but in any event, you can find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, on PSN at Fuzzy_Belvedere, and on Xbox Live, like I said, playing Forza or Division 2 or just about any other game on Game Pass at Fuzzy Space Belvedere. Thank you so much for having me. Chat was awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And last but not least, Kirby Louise, thanks so much for joining us, brother. Definitely appreciate you coming in, giving us your technical knowledge. Where can people reach out to you on social media and what you got going on?
Yeah, thanks. You can find me on Twitter at Kirby0Luis or at GitHub at github.com/Kirby0Luis. If you're interested in my developments and keeping up on that. And I always have my DMs open, so feel free to ask me any questions. I kind of like the attention anyways. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And I have one more thing to say.
Love it. Well, thanks so much for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Last and no way least, also, Sean drops an outstanding and very generous $5 of jet and says, showing my support, Boom. Well, thanks, Sean. Definitely appreciate you being here. And of course, thank you for the generosity. And I'll close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me with kids. And he used to say this: son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of E3, and we'll see you back here for the midweek wrap up, if you will, of what happened with E3 so far. And that will be going live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.